What's up? Form constant 8. Hey, man. This call
What's
will be
up?
recorded, man.
This call will be recorded. So yeah, you're
Um,
biking home.
yeah, I'm actually walking right now because I'm in a mandatory dismount zone. But once I get to the crosswalk, I'll be getting it on.
Full speed ahead. Mount up.
But yeah, what you been up to? How's the week been? You're sick, I've heard.
Yeah, I think I got food poisoning. I cooked a pot pie, and I guess I didn't leave it in long enough. It was in for an hour and a half, and I checked the temperature when it came out, but which is supposed to be at 165 for chicken. But I
Right.
wonder if it got the temperature of like all the soupy liquid
Just the
stuff in
liquid,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was some bits of chicken that was raw. Um, so yeah, I was like puking and had diarrhea like all night and felt like shit for like 48 hours.
Did you have to go on the brat diet?
What's that? Like rice and beans or something?
Bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast.
No, but I mean, I did something similar with whatever I had. I didn't eat much. Like there was like a while. I was like for the next day, I pretty much didn't eat anything. I just drank water, and
That's tough.
yeah, it was rough.
My dear friend Alec recently got food poisoning and then he contracted a stomach virus or a stomach bug.
Yeah, I was worried I got maybe like the norovirus, which I've gotten before, and I hear it's going around.
What is
But
that?
it's just like a stomach bug like that where you're just like puking and diarrhea for like 48 hours, like same kind of symptoms, but it's just a
Um,
bug that I don't know, you can like it'll just pass through you, I guess, but
Brutal stuff.
yeah.
I've been dealing with a black eye.
Oh yeah, I saw that. So that was from a mosh pit?
Yeah, I was at a metalcore show, um, and I was going a little too hard because like everyone else was lame. It was a. I mean, I should have been smarter, honestly. It was a six uh, band show, and the opening two, the pit's not really getting active, and it's like like dank breakdown music. There should be karate chops being thrown, but there's not, and so I'm getting down. And then the second band is like, "Hey, the guy in the Georgia hat, he's got the best style, with my moves, right?"
Yeah.
So I'm getting hyped. Went a little too crazy, just full face right into a fist,
Yeah. I've seen people
and
at
it's
shows, they just like put put two fists out like in a T position, like both arms extended, and they just spin around like crazy,
yeah, that's a classic.
like in the middle of everyone. That's nuts.
Yeah, it gets crazy. But yeah, I had my first day of the second semester. I wore some makeup. I was embarrassed of my black eye,
What?
but that was kind of a blunder on my part.
Why? Yeah, I feel like you should be proud of it.
It's just like so like it's not like anyone's gonna ask about it. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, he's a degenerate." Like you don't get black eyes doing wholesome things.
I mean, yeah, but that's like cool credit. Like people respect you. That's like you kind of want that.
No one at UGA is like, "Oh, he's got a black eye. He must be worth respecting."
I mean, I guess the majority it would are like what like preppy kids, and they're like he's a bad influence. I don't want to associate with him.
Yeah, or they're just like, "That's weird. I'm not gonna talk to him." But
Well,
it didn't make a difference anyway. I didn't talk to anyone the whole day.
yeah, everyone was locked into their studies.
Yeah, and then yesterday and today, I was back on the having a black eye grind. No makeup, no filter.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think that's the way to go. Just rock it.
It's been pretty interesting. I feel like it's been like very beautiful, vibrant colors. It never really divulged into just black and blue.
It's been like purples and magentas and
Yeah, it's been like beautiful sunset
like a
colors.
sunset, tangerine skies.
But my skin is getting like yellow now. I look a little jaundiced.
Yeah, yeah. Yellow's a bad look. You look
I'm
like
about to
Joe
look at the
Rogan.
graphic right now. Does Joe Rogan look yellow?
No, but CNN like altered one of his pictures famously during the COVID era, and they were like, "Look, Joe Rogan took ivermectin, and now he looks yellow and like he looked like he's about to die." And Joe Rogan like
Awesome.
immediately retweeted, was like, "Dude, you fucking like photoshopped my. Here's the original photo. And this is what you photoshopped, and then put it on CNN. You guys are douchebags."
He does have a weird look. When Theo Vaughn was on a while ago, he was like he was showing a video of Joe was showing him a video of him getting in like a ice bath, and
Yeah,
Theo was like, "Yeah, you look
I
like
saw
a
that.
turkey. You look like you're wrapped in a been wrapped in the string." And
And he's
Joe's
like,
like defensive.
Joe's like, "Those are abs, motherfucker. I
Those
work
are
out."
fucking abs, you piece of fucking shit.
You candy ass
But
princess bitch.
he is like he's so weirdly built. Like he does look like inflated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because he's old. He's like 56. He's just like an old.
Yeah,
He's
I
like a
guess so.
ripped old man.
And surely he's like on steroids too.
Well, I think he does testosterone stuff, so it's like very similar.
Yeah. Going down a big hill. Almost the wind bad.
I can't hear you.
I'm going down a big hill right now.
It sounds like you're gaining some speed. I can't hear anything you're saying. I just hear wind rushing
All right, is it better now? A little bit.
a little.
Sorry, I went down a huge hill. It was very cool. Very cool stuff that I just did.
Nice. It's getting you sweet air.
No,
Pop a
no
wheelie,
sweat.
bro. Yeah, you. I know you pop wheelies. I've seen you
I
pop
do
the
pop wheelies,
wheelies.
yeah.
Be looking cool as hell with a wheelie
So cool. I'm fly, boy.
for a white
Oh,
guy.
I. Speaking of people looking inflated, I was watching My Strange Addiction, and this lady was addicted to like plastic surgery and making her breasts bigger, and she had like double Qs,
Oh my god.
and they were just like her skin was pulled so tight. It was like just so weird. It was like actual balloons in there. And then she was like, "Let me show you my party trick. Do you have a flashlight?" They turn off the lights, and she has like orbs because she puts the flashlight up to her boobs, and you can just see it's like a skin balloon.
That's gross.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Have you seen the lady that I think she had like the same thing, but she was focused on her face and it just got away from her, and she looks like a Hollywood like mask or something. Like it looks like someone put like all kinds of like, I don't know, like clay over her face. Like she's like she's wearing the mask like Ace Ventura mask, you know?
Yeah, I've seen some people that look like that. Yeah, it's a
It's
weird thing to
scary.
be into plastic surgery and like in a
But
big way.
yeah, and I've seen that people or just like it's a common thing for like women, especially like rich, like wealthy aging women will do like all these certain things. Like they'll do the lips and they'll do like the cheekbones, and they'll do like some jawline stuff and they'll do the
Yeah,
Botox, and
yeah,
they just have this certain look. Like they're all like kind of going after this
yeah. They
one
got the
look.
they got the Botox mom look.
Yeah, and it just looks so bad. I mean, it's crazy that it feels like they're doing it for each other. You know, that's the thing that people say is like men don't necessarily
Yeah,
like that, but like women are doing it to like compete with each other. But then it gets away from it, and I just think they look so unattractive. I don't know. They're
I
losing
don't.
it.
I mean, I think they should be free to do whatever they want. I do think it's like a weird thing. It's also so funny, like being a Botox mom has like full on like character. Ooh, little go there. It has like full on character traits attached to it, like just like the way they talk and like the things they'll talk about.
Yeah,
That's a funny archetype.
It's like the Mean Girls mom. They say that it's like the one mom where it's like
Yes.
you can drink at their house. We're talking
Okay.
about Botox moms. I'll piece them
Yeah.
together.
Yet another accidental hang up. I
A bit of a
guess.
fumble.
I guess it was me because I'm pedaling. I might have pressed the button against my pants or whatever.
But you know
But
that
yeah,
does
me.
happen
Huh?
on the biggest podcast in the world, Joe Rogan. That's been happening like the last like 5 episodes. It'll cut off and then he'll come back on and be like, "Yeah, sorry, we're having a software issue," and then they get back into it.
That's funny.
So it happens to the
And
best.
he's rich and famous, so basically, fine.
So we're the same.
Yes. Oh, both my roommates are back. Yeah, Mean Girl's mom is exactly like that. I don't know that I've watched that entire movie, but I do know that she like wants to be the friend
Yeah, she like
of the kids.
the advocate. I remember I had one of my friends' moms was like that when we were in high school too. She would like host the parties for the kids and take the keys. She'd be like, "Here's some alcohol, but just don't. Nobody's driving, okay? Everyone has to stay over."
Mm. That's I don't hate that. It's kind of weird when you like really try to like hang out or like Stavros talks about how one of his high school coaches got fired because he like gave one of the kids porn just because he wanted to like be cool.
Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, like
You got to draw a line somewhere,
definitely 100%.
and hopefully it's before porn.
Oh,
You shouldn't be
absolutely.
buying the kids cigarettes or drugs or alcohol, or porn. Just don't. Just don't.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, I'm taking a journalism. I'm taking a media law class, which is pretty interesting because last semester or 2 semesters ago, last fall, I wrote a 10-page paper on the FCC and how they're like not useful anymore in terms of regulating things, regulating the internet and communications of the modern era. So I'm
Interesting.
excited about that class. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting segue into censorship. Did you talk about that at all?
Um, not a lot of censorship talking points.
Yeah, because that's been a big issue the past like few years. It's like there's been, the whole like misinformation scandal, malinformation, like who can decide what is, appropriate, what is misinformation, what is true, who decides what's true.
This call will be recorded. Oh, this is kind of brutal. I only get good service when I'm right next to the cars.
Dang. What were we talking about?
You were talking about censorship, and then I said I didn't really touch on that much in my paper. It was more about how like uh, exploitative, like new age communications technologies are. And then I said, "What's your take on censorship?"
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been kind of scandalous in the past few years. Mr. Zuckerberg came out and said that he was contacted by the Biden administration to censor posts about COVID and because they were deemed to be malinformation or misinformation. So they like took all those posts down. And then he like came out and apologized a few years later, which is kind of weird and like suspect, but yeah,
Who?
it's the whole
Wait,
thought about
who
like who does
apologized?
Zuckerberg.
Apologized for having censored people?
Yeah, he admitted it and he apologized for it.
I mean, this like the whole like COVID thing. Uh, I think censorship is being like exploited as a bigger problem than it is. Yes, I do think like the war on misinformation during COVID, during the pandemic, was kind of unnecessary, and a lot of the information wasn't actually false. Like, but I don't know. It's kind of like wartime in that you shouldn't like, you know, go against the government in certain cases because it's harmful to the greater good. Like,
I mean,
I don't know. They didn't handle COVID great. It could have been done better, but I don't know how.
well, I think one of the reasons that it was mishandled because they were trying to control the information and everyone was confused. And I don't think that helped. I think it hindered everyone.
What were you confused about during COVID?
I mean, I was pretty, like, I wasn't on the fence. After a while, I definitely, and I have the same views as I did, but most people disagreed with them.
Which are what? That there's a microchip in the vaccine?
No, but I think largely the vaccines weren't helpful and were kind of pushed on us to have like a profit. The pharmacy companies were getting profits and they were profiting from it being mandated when it really wasn't the best um, option for a lot of people.
Did you pay for a vaccine?
No, the government subsidized it. It was mandated by the government. The government paid Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson to mandate for all citizens. So they made a shit ton of money, and they also like weren't. They were like immune from like being from lawsuits if it were anything were to go wrong. So I didn't get
Okay.
vaccinated.
You didn't get vaccinated for
No,
COVID?
no.
I mean, I think this is like, I think when you're trying to develop a vaccine for a a virus that has just like popped up, it's going to be hard to do it correctly, and I don't think that these companies should have been rewarded for their like worse versions of the vaccines. But I do think vaccines do contribute to the greater good in terms of preventing spread of disease.
Yeah, and that's a bigger argument that I don't disagree with. And yeah, and I think, it was a confusing time and you can give benefit of the doubt to the fact that everyone was like kind of panicking and we wanted to find a solution quickly. So they did Project Warp Speed just to try to like kind of like save everyone and get it done quickly so that it didn't spread. So like, there's position on both sides, but I think that overall it was not effective, but they kept pushing it and almost like spread it like a religion of like you need to do this or you're selfish or you're killing your grandma. And I just think a lot of that was like super harmful and uneducated, and they're pushing it. They're like trust the science, but it's
I
like
mean, yeah, but it also like, if more and more people get vaccines, you can go outside and start interacting with people without the fear of spreading to the immunocompromised. And it's like, yeah, you could also just stay inside, but it is like at the end of the day, you would agree it was like an emergency situation and it was just handled like an emergency.
yeah, I mean, it was confusing times, but I think my whole point about it is that the whole misinformation thing was like a huge overstep and like kind of nefarious to I think my concern and I think the biggest like scandal of it all in my eyes is the fact that um they they kind of knew that the effectiveness was not there, but they just kept rolling with that story and they tried to silence anyone who were bringing up factual evidence that actually this may not be as effective as you're saying it is. And I think that is on the verge of nefarious, if not, I mean, if it's not just like um incompetent, then it's nefarious, and I think both are like pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'll. I don't know enough about the statistics on how effectual the vaccine was, but it didn't hurt me to get it, and I'm not like upset that I got it. So I don't. What harm do you think was done by censoring misinformation, or like what were we missing out on the internet?
Well, I think it was. dangerous. I think if you decided it was good for you, then that's one thing. But I think that it's really just a risky thing to do. And if you're going to silence all the voices that are saying it may not be effective, it may not be worth it. In fact, it might be dangerous. We're not quite sure what it's going to do. I think
What
that's not
what were the
very
dangers though? I don't think anyone died from just the vaccine alone.
well. I think they did, and I think they also like tried to kind of hide those numbers. They instead of saying it was vaccine related illness or vaccine related death, they said it was a COVID death, and there was a lot of scandal on like how they recorded COVID deaths.
I think actually, yeah, I remember the COVID deaths being either overcounted
Yeah.
or something of that sort. But I think anyone who died and also got the vaccine, I don't think it was because they got this vaccine. Like it would have been way more large of a scale of deaths, and it would have been an insane tragedy of vaccine killings because so many people got vaccinated, you know? Like you're pointing to a couple cases where old people or immunocompromised people died of something else and happened to have gotten the vaccine, you know?
Um. Yeah, well, it's a big subject, and one of the things that people were saying is like the ventilators were actually killing people, and maybe they didn't know right off the bat, but
Like in the hospital.
yeah, like like once they put ventilators on, it was like a 50% chance of survival, and the ventilator, a lot of people, like a lot of professionals, were saying that like ventilators were not a good move at all, period. And so. There's also the thing of like comorbidity. So like there's like really obese people or like people who are like really elderly and already in the hospital and they already have pneumonia and they died, but they also like tested positive for COVID. So they say, oh, this is a COVID death, but there's kind of like a lot more factors going on. But if the
Yeah, the
hospitals
COVID deaths definitely were overcounted and like handled poorly.
Yeah, so like the hospitals were getting subsidies, so they would get paid if they were reporting COVID deaths because they would get subsidies for like pandemic supplements. You'd get money if you have COVID deaths because you need more resources to help the pandemic, right? So they were incentivized to record COVID deaths over other reasons for death. So there was just a
I
lot
don't
of
know if I believe that, but
well,
you
you can
know,
look into it. I mean, this is one of those hot topics where it's like you're gonna see some things, I'm gonna see other things, but you're gonna have to look into it.
I just don't see like you can chalk this all up to it being a state of emergency and panic and you know like I don't know. Some people are going to be dick riding the government and being like, "You have to do this," and other people are going to disagree. I don't know. It doesn't seem like something to be like it's not some crazy conspiracy to me. It's just fucking like people being incompetent.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little of both. I think the incentives were skewed in a way that put profits above health of the citizens, and I think
I
that's
mean,
an
yeah,
issue.
look at insurance companies. That's not because of the pandemic or vaccines. That's how our health uh, state operates.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem, and I think that's one of the events that really highlighted it.
Yeah, I guess yeah, I'll agree with that. But I don't know. I think framing it as like this COVID psyop is disingenuous.
I mean, yeah, the PSYOP part of it was the fact that they were like controlling dissenting opinions, which I think is not very fair and just, and not very not not very like American free speech. You know what I mean? Like they like actually took down posts that were dissenting opinions of like whether it's reporting, oh, my uncle got the vaccine and now he had a something happen to him, they would take that post down. Or, hey, I don't think that the vaccines, I think this we're moving too quickly. Maybe think before you get it. If someone just made a post like that, they take it down. It's just things like that. It's like you need a conversation and you want people to have informed decisions,
I mean,
but
yeah,
instead
we
they
should
chose to
have an
mandate
open
it.
space to be able to critique the government to any extent. But I also think it's hard in a state of emergency, and there's like been precedents set that the government should have more control over free speech in times like that. And it's like, from my understanding, it's also people being like, there's a microchip in this, they're going to control you. And it's like, why you don't want to have another frenzy over something that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think, and I think part of the issue, and you're going to say this is disingenuous, but I think like, so, and I think there's precedent for a lot of these cases happening is that there's people that will like muddy the waters, and they're going to put all kinds of shit out there, and like some of that could be part of this manufactured like. Don't listen to people who are saying the vaccine is not safe because they're crazy and they're saying there's microchips in it. They're saying that they're going to flip a switch and turn you into a zombie that the government can control your mind with. They're going to there's people like stewing the pot of conspiracies so that you don't even go down that road. You say, oh, those are all crazy people. I think so. I think that's part of it, and I think they do this. That's the kind of psyop that happens, and they do the
I
same
don't, I
thing for
think the,
UFOs, and they do the same thing for foreign governments that they don't like. That it's the same playbook.
yeah, yes, but I don't think anything you just said was disingenuous at all. I agree with you, but I don't think it's muddying the waters when it's a state of emergency. Like, yeah, should they have censored people saying, "Hey, I don't think I'm gonna get the vaccine because I'm worried it's underdeveloped." They definitely shouldn't have been deleting posts like that. But it's also, in my head, I see why they would do that, and I don't see it as like a crazy conspiracy to stop people from being able to critique the government. It's like a slippery slope of going into microchips and like a whole vaccines don't work thing, because there's so many anti-vaxxers that came up from since COVID, and it's like vaccines do work. We have eradicated diseases with vaccines, so there probably shouldn't be as big of a conversation about not vaccinating. But then, as I'm thinking through this, it's like them deleting posts gives you more reason to critique the vaccine. So it's like they're kind of doing the opposite of what was intended.
Yeah, it kind of makes them look bad in the end. When the dust clears, you're kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Like this was just so you made it all confusing, and you were intentionally like confusing people by like taking these posts down and like heavily favoring one side. It's like that's not how it should have gone, and I think that is kind of nefarious. And the whole vaccine conversation, the anti-vax movement, quote unquote, I think is still valid. And RFK is trying to like reduce the amount of like childhood vaccines because some of them maybe aren't necessary. And I think there's a lot of validity to that. I'm not saying all vaccines are bad, but I'm saying that like maybe 78 vaccines before you're 5 years old is a bit much. And, maybe it is causing more health concerns. And I think it's like a conversation to be had. Not that I'm an expert and I need to be like making a decision on all this stuff, but I think we should definitely have this conversation.
Well, I do think they are trying to make. I think um, one of the big ticket items would be to compress different flu vaccines and needing to get boosters into one shot and like universal vaccines. And it's like, I don't know. You and I are not smart enough to know how to do that or how to create that, and I don't think RFK is either. And it's like there are scientists working on that kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
so
I think my concern is that we can't only trust the scientists who are paid by the pharmacy companies because this is like a conflict of interest because the vaccine mandate,
well,
whether it's for
scientists
COVID.
scientists and researchers are not, and doctors are not
But
paid by companies. It's the companies
yeah,
who buy patents to this and then profit off selling drugs.
yeah,
And this
but
is this is also like the bigger issue with this is pharmaceuticals and making people reliant on them when they don't need them.
yeah,
Like vaccines are proven to work. We have eradicated diseases because of them,
yeah,
and
some of
we
them.
see illnesses coming back because people are getting less vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, the vaccine technology seems to work in some cases, but I think they're using that word because we think that we see it as like a safe technology, and they're kind of like supersede. They're like applying that to things that aren't even like true vaccines. Like you could look into that. They changed the definition of vaccine to make the COVID vaccine, quote unquote, fit into that category when it's actually like something
Yeah.
else that I'm not educated enough to talk about. But like there's just like more and more scandals as you unwrap. There's like layers and layers of this stuff. And it all comes down
Again,
to
I don't think that's
incentives.
a scandal, though. I would again attribute that to a state of emergency. Should they have censored people? No. Should they call the COVID vaccine a vaccine without it being the true definition? Should they shift the definition? Should they move the goalposts? No. But like at the end of the day, calling it a vaccine is so that people will be like, oh, this will help you stop getting COVID, stop spreading COVID, and it did do that.
I mean, I think that's debatable, and I think that's a psyop. I think that's a psyop is that it's an emergency, we have to do it, and then you don't question any further, and that's an issue. And what you saw is like a large amount of money going straight to pharmaceutical CEOs and pharmaceutical reps and doctors who submitted and followed it, and money that was taken from citizens who either lost their jobs because they didn't feel safe about the vaccine, or the whole fact that they closed down like not essential businesses during the pandemic, and yet Walmart and everyone else was deemed as essential. So like these giant corporations stayed in business and just siphoned up way more money. And all these like people with small businesses lost their business. A lot of people lost their jobs. I mean, it's a
This
it's a
that's
huge
not a
thing.
psyop. That's how our economy works. It benefits the rich and fucks over the poor.
Yeah, but they sold it to us, signed, sealed, and delivered as like this is an emergency. You must do it, or you're gonna kill your grandma. That's the psyop of it. Is that they sold it to us, and it had all these things attached to it that was really bad for the everyday people and good for giant corporations. So it is. So that's a psyop because they sold it to us like that.
I mean, this is like this is the same thing as people who have crippling anxiety getting on Zoloft and paying off or profiting these big health companies and these people with the patents on drugs. They are the person with crippling anxiety who's getting their Zoloft and having a better quality of life isn't, they're not being lied to. They're just participating in a broken system.
I mean, yeah. Well, it goes deeper because it's like who created COVID and who created the like what is causing the anxiety? Okay, what caused COVID? It was created in a lab in North Carolina or possibly in Wuhan or possibly both. And it's like, so you created the disease and then it leaked out of the lab. Oops, you dropped it and and it spread
I
across the
I
whole
don't.
globe. And now you're going to sell
Okay.
us this cure to this disease that you created.
I don't think that the same people who created or contracted COVID are the people profiting off vaccinations.
Well, I do. So you should look into it.
You think all anxiety is also made in a lab?
No, that was a stretch. I mean, I think anxiety, I think that's one of those things where you're like, you're healing the symptom, but you're not dealing with the underlying issues. And I think that's hard to say that that's a psyop. I mean, I just think anxiety is like, risen in our culture for a lot of different reasons. And that's kind of hard to link to a conspiracy. But, I think the fact that the drug companies are selling this product that will quote unquote cure your anxiety, but really it just gives you side effects and, helps your symptoms, but you still are an anxious person deep down and the problems that are causing your anxiety haven't really been solved.
Right, but I don't. Okay, yes, I agree with that. I don't think Zoloft or Lexapro or whatever is gonna cure your anxiety, but it's
They're
like
giving you a
taking
better
Advil for
quality
a
of life.
headache.
Yeah,
It's
I
yeah, it's
mean,
gonna improve your quality of life. I think first of all, I don't think I haven't seen any of this woo woo stuff about it being about COVID being constructed in a lab. I was still under the assumption that someone had eaten a bat and contracted a virus from that, which seems super plausible.
I mean,
Uh, but you know,
uh,
if you
no,
believe it was created in the lab, whatever.
there was a whole scandal about gain of function research, and they had a lab working on gain of function research, and they were playing with different strains of like flu viruses, and they were, playing with viruses that spread in animals, and they were trying to like create like war, weapons of war, like
Bioweapons.
bioweapons. Yeah, that would be like
Who is
an
they? These
extreme.
are people in North Carolina or China or where?
Both. So you've got factions. You've got like the World Health Organization. So you've got a laboratory in North Carolina, which is where the funding like came from, and that was what Fauci ran. But they also had like a sister lab in Wuhan, which is where the outbreak, reportedly happened. And then they came up with the story about the bat or the pangolin or whatever the hell they said. And then they like later they were like, we don't do gain of function. And then later they came out and were like, actually, we do gain of function, but this is just a coincidence that it broke out right outside of this lab that we do gain of function in. And I mean, it's a whole rabbit hole. I would say you should go look into it.
I'm on Google Scholar right now looking at COVID uh, origins.
I mean, I would say go back and listen to Joe Rogan back in that era because he was one of the guys. And he brings
What'd you
up
say?
facts and he talks to scientists and he was like one of the leading voices, and that's why everyone like kind of hated him at that time because he was like one of the voices of the other side of the story. But yeah, Google probably won't give you the. I mean, this is all part of the problem. Is like Google is like still probably controlling the search results because they would count that as like malinformation, which is what they termed as information that is true, accurately true, but harmful to society. So they censor malinformation.
I mean, I don't. Okay. I'm not so sure that there's no information on the internet about where COVID is originated from.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, look
I'm.
it up. I'm just saying you have to like check your sources and like listen to a couple different points of view because there are going to be articles that will give you the mainstream story, but I don't think they should be trusted.
I think a lot of mainstream stories are mainstream because they're factually relevant. And I think the biggest downfall of conspiracies is that, uh, oh, you're not seeing this because they don't want you to. But it's like we are very capable of finding things the that the government wouldn't want you to find. Like you can do things on the internet that are against the law, and it's like I do believe finding the truth is hard sometimes, but I don't think it's that hard in cases like this.
I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I would say go to Brave because like there's been a lot of stuff. I've listened to a lot of people talk about Google and how they actively like promote and like
Yeah,
um
Google's algorithm, not Google Scholar.
I don't really know about Google Scholar, but I'm sure it's
Google
it's all
Scholar is where
connected.
you have to have, you have to have researchers and a panel of people look over what you're writing, and there's this whole, I mean, you're no, it doesn't fucking matter. You're just gonna go anti-academia on me.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's all a conspiracy, and that's always my conjecture. So, like, it's good that you and I have like these different points of view, but like, I'm always going to be pushing this side of it that there's people who are trying to push narratives, and they have control over a lot of our institutions. Google being one of them. Like, our tech stacks were developed by the CIA.
What?
Google and Facebook and Google Earth, and it was all like CIA products that they launched in the public into the private sector. So they have ties with the CIA.
Right. What word did you use? Tech stacks?
Tech stack, yeah, it's just like, yeah, Google plus Zoom plus Google Notes or Google Drive. Google, it's like that's a stack of
Like the
products that you
Google
use.
suite?
The Google Suite plus Facebook plus it's just like, yeah, all the big tech people. And that's why AI, there's an issue of AI being like kind of, like Open AI, and Sam Altman is like kind of sus because he's controlling results. And if you ask AI something, they don't always go towards truth. They go towards, what they're programmed to um say, what they're programmed to respond to and how they're programmed to respond. And you have to like kind of break the code sometimes to get some of those AIs to like give you something more accurate. So
I
that's the world
mean,
we're living in. I mean, I think that is all true. I mean, it's kind of like um, yeah, dystopian existence, but I think that's kind of what we're living through. Is like people are it's warring parties that are trying to control the spread of information. That's
I
modern day for you.
don't, okay. And so your argument would be that the right wing is spreading truth while the left wing is spreading lies?
No, I think they're so this is interesting. Yeah, I think they have their own initiatives, and I think they're probably both arms of the same nefarious octopus.
That's not interesting at all. Yeah, the people in power want to fuck us over. That's obvious.
So yeah, but I think the whole left right thing is just a stage for us to think, oh, there's these people and there's like
It's
truly a
not a
struggle for
stage, it's the
power.
means by which they continue to control us.
But what it means to stage is in they like stage these debates and they stage these contentious arguments because they want to show this side has this point of view and this side has so that they want to make it seem like there's a true debate going on. There's a true like struggle for power when it's really just one conglomerate of like nefarious kind of like cartels, multinational cartels that are like controlling the narratives and they have sway on both sides. Which I
Well,
think we probably agree with. I think a lot of people on from the left and the right, whether you're liberal or Republican, we all see that there's this like overarching power struggle that's trying to take over our lives, but we just keep blaming it on the other side.
I
Am I
don't
right?
know. I think that both sides do a bad job, but I think Trump is doing a really bad job. Like the fuck that lady got killed in her car the other day. That's fucked. And like I think I don't know. I think the problem is that all every institutional politician is going to continue supporting the rich and the powerful and keep fucking us over. And I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to be holding them accountable in different ways instead of just like I don't know, saying things are psyops and disagreeing with getting vaccinated.
I mean, okay. I mean, I think that's one of their side. I think that's a psyop, and I think that we shouldn't have gotten vaccinated, and I think that's part of the problem. But yeah.
What are the means of control that they're seizing by making you get vaccinated?
I mean, it's like it's like a test of like, will you submit? If we say you have to do this and we say it's an emergency, will you do it? It's like a test of like how well you're going to be controlled. That's one thing. But
I
also,
don't agree with that. I think people died from COVID, and getting vaccinated helped stop COVID from being such a dangerous thing.
I mean, that's the mainstream narrative. And I'm not going to say people didn't die from COVID because I think people definitely did. I think COVID's real. I think people died from it. I think it was a serious disease. I think it was a true pandemic. But I think overall it was like a playbook by the elite to see how we would react, to see how they could control us, to see how they could control the narrative. I think overall it was like part of their plan of like just being dickheads.
I don't know. I think I mean my what I think is every politician is going to serve the powerful and the rich and continue to enlarge the gap between the elite and the average person in America. But I also think most of the things that happen in government can be thrown or like tossed up to incompetency. Like I don't think our government. I think the CIA is like powerful and definitely doing some bad shit. But I don't think like Congress or the administrative agencies, what the right wing would call the deep state, is capable of doing anything meaningful to us.
Well, I think they're bought and paid for by
Yeah,
the deep state, quote unquote.
who is?
the Congress and all these people that you're talking about who don't have the power, I think they're powerless
They're bought and
because
paid for by lobbyists and the elite.
yeah, exactly. That's my yeah. And if they're not bought and paid for in that way, then they're bought and paid for by blackmail.
Sure, yeah.
They've been on the island. They were in the Diddy party. They were they were in some of these other circles of blackmail, and so they have to kiss the hand. They have to do exactly what the people above them say, or else their whole life is ruined.
Right. And that's why nothing happens, nothing comes for the common person in politics.
Yeah,
You know,
so
there's
we
like
agree.
one thing a year that you can point to and be like, well, they did this, and that's why I support them. And it's like they're not actually doing I don't know. You're saying this, but like Trump is your guy, right?
No, not
Like
really.
you think he's changing you think he's shaking things up? I think a lot of people think that still, or I don't know. I guess it's wearing off, but like
I think it's
I
wearing
don't know.
off. I think he's, I think he's kind of shown his hands. I think he's bought and paid for by Israel. I think it's crazy that Israel has so much sway on him, and I think it's like kind of defining that the fact that he's just another pawn.
Yeah,
I think Israel. I think it all kind of goes back to Israel. That's what it seems like.
I watched a video today or yesterday where this guy said that billionaires shouldn't be taxed more because they wouldn't be able to pay their employees as much, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I
I mean, it sounds like
I don't know.
we're agreed to some extent on this.
Yeah, I just think you're talking about polarization. I think being against vaccines is part of this problem of people not of like
Okay.
issues being argued
Yeah,
that
but hold on. Let me cut you off because I already said I'm not against vaccines.
okay.
I just think that COVID was handled wrong, and I think the COVID vaccine in particular, I think was not a good idea. And for some small percentage of the population, probably was good and effective. But I think the fact that it was mandatory, I think, was fucked up, and most people
Was it really
shouldn't have.
mandatory?
Well, they try, yeah. Well, mandatory, yeah. They said it's mandatory, but that doesn't mean it's like like
It's
illegal
not in
not to.
law.
Right.
Yeah.
So mandatory is like
Was
kind of a
it
weird
like
word.
you like people couldn't did people really get fired for that?
Yeah, 100%. My job at the time was like were like threatening to fire. They didn't like directly say that, but they were like kept pushing it. Like every month, they're like, if you haven't got vaccinated, you need to. I'm saying this. It's very important for everyone gets vaccinated, and they were like kind of like threatening, but I was kind of reading between the lines that like they weren't actually going to do anything about it, so I didn't do it,
Yeah. And they I mean
and they didn't.
didn't do anything about it. So
But I was lucky, and there was a lot of people, and well, there's a lot of people that just got scared. They got scared enough by their employers. They heard that, and they're like, "Shit, I got to do this, or my livelihood's missing, or it's
well
going to be
that's
gone."
yeah, I mean I guess but that goes to the people just not being empathetic enough, I feel like.
What do you mean, like the people who didn't get vaccinated, or the
No,
employers, or what?
the employers, yeah, like people who are telling people to get vaccinated. I don't know. I still think it was a meaningful, helpful move towards negating the effects of the worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I think, I think to some extent, I think it helped in some extent, but I think the way that it was carried out was just really wrong. Like I think that older people should definitely have gotten vaccinated and probably should have quarantined. I think that's probably the extent. That's probably it. If you're over
Well, the
70,
thing is,
get vaccinated, stay indoors. Everyone else, keep living your life. I think that's probably how we should have done it.
yeah, I guess maybe, yeah, but I don't. I I think it was an emergency and it was like fucked up in a incompetence way, not in a we need to control the people way.
I mean, yeah, I think they hide behind incompetency when it's really nefarious. But that's just my
But
personal.
but like, okay, we're just talking in circles. I gotta go back to this. Like, what is the negative effect in terms of like, like people's like controlling people? I
Well,
understand the
okay,
negative effect of it being dangerous,
yeah, that's one. I
but
mean,
like that, but that would be accidental. Like we obviously would not be trying to kill our own kind.
well, that's sort of the conspiracy of it, and this is like really far out there, but this is, Bill Gates was quoted saying, and you can look up this video. He said he was saying like our population right now is right about 8 billion, and it's a little bit overpopulated. But if we do really good in public health and vaccinations, we can bring that down about 20 to 30%. Like that's a quote from Bill Gates,
What?
bro. Look it up. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's what he said that.
What should I look up?
Look up Bill Gates, overpopulation, vaccination, something like that.
Okay, it's population.
Gates has been Gates has been catching a lot of smoke. He seems to be like behind a lot of this bad shit,
I
a
mean,
lot of the
yeah, he's a
conspiracies.
billionaire. He's a bad person.
He's like the true villain of the world. That's kind of what it seems like.
I think he's, one of them. Are you recording, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, pop.
And he's been caught doing a lot of weird stuff that people are just kind of like irked by. I don't know if we talked about this already, but he's decided that climate change isn't an issue anymore.
Well, he's a billionaire who profits off industries that change the climate. So that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, right. And then he's also, he led a lot of like vaccinations in Africa for like HIV, but he
Well,
was
yeah, he was like a big health proponent for a while.
right.
That
But
was
if
like
you
his
look
whole thing. He's
into
like, I'm a billionaire, but I help people, so it's okay.
right, and that's his like brand. That's what he puts out. But if you look into like the cases of what he did in those communities, it seems like he wasn't helping and actually like hurting a lot more people. I don't know the details on that, but it's worth looking into.
I'm not. You're gonna have to find this quote for next podcast. I guess he was just saying we need to reduce population growth,
Yeah, and
which
then he
like
said it
is true, and health stuff would help that, like educating people on contraceptives.
right.
Like healthy
Well,
populations stop producing kids. Like look at Japan, look at us. That's how it goes.
yeah, but I mean, there's two different ideas. One idea says that we have too many people and we need to chill out because climate change, et cetera. And then the other camp of people says population is declining, and this time 50 years from now, we're not going to have a sustainable population.
Yeah, it's declining in rich countries, but it undoubtedly is increasing. Like there's no question about that. You go to any poor place, that everyone has thousands of kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like the exact studies on this, but that's one of the things where there's like two conflicting opinions and everyone's
I
pushing their
don't
own
I
narrative.
I don't think there's two conflicting opinions. I think American conservatives are pushing that we need to have more kids because, the middle class is less willing to have children now, and, we're also feeling the effects of the baby boom, I guess. Like there's a big blip in the population, but world population is 100% going up. I'll say that with no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not educated enough to like speak on this. Like, what's the right amount of population for the Earth? Are we too much? Do we not have enough? Like,
I
I don't
think
know.
scientists are saying we're going to max out at 11 and then 11 billion and then start dying back down. I would say, uh like I feel like we definitely have too many people right now. Uh, unless we're gonna start building like better cities that build up instead of out. Like suburbia is kind of killing the planet. In addition to these big factories and all our cars and stuff. So I don't know. I think we're not that overpopulated in America, but you look at like India, there's so many people there, and everyone is so poor, or a lot of people are so poor.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's it's not even everywhere,
Yeah, it's
and
an interesting
and
topic. I'd like to look into it, but I think we're both onto something. Like, I'm not sure where that falls, but I think you're making good points.
there's been 262,630 births today and 123,759 deaths, according to worldometers.info. And I'm watching it go up. I've had it pulled up for like a minute. We've gone up like 200 people. But how would they even know that? There's probably only like 7 people alive on Earth for real.
But maybe what they're trying to do is like there's people who like want America to collapse, so they want us to not have kids. Like maybe that's part of it. You know what I
Who
mean?
wants that? Like China? Russia?
Yeah, China, Bill Gates, whoever. So like Bill Gates and like his class of people,
I mean,
allegedly
Bill
are.
Gates wants there to be less poor people so he won't have to have an obligation to pay for things for them.
Yeah, I don't think he's quite as benevolent as he claims, but
You're really on to something, man. That's
bro,
that's.
look
I
up Bill
think
Gates shit because Bill Gates is a shifty motherfucker. I think we need
he's a
to do
bad
a deep
person.
dive.
Any billionaire is a fucking bad person. There's no question about that. You're not. I'm being sarcastic because it's obvious.
Okay, it's hard to know.
I think you don't make $1 billion being a good person. You don't make $1 billion helping people.
Right.
And he does. I don't think his actual like endeavors in humanitarian aid are nefarious. I think they're just actually good acts that cover his ass for being a bad rich person.
Yeah, and I mean that could be true, and I'm just here to say that there are theories that what he's actually doing is bad, and he's just making it sound good. So I'm just saying that that theory is out there.
You think the vaccines he's giving Africans are actually injecting them
AIDS.
with
That's what people
AIDS?
have said. And
Really?
malaria and all this stuff. He's like claiming to cure these things, but he's like, killing more people than he's
What's the
saving.
benefit of that for him?
I don't know.
Less poor people?
I think he's just a sick fuck. I think that's part of the issue is that it's hard for us to imagine what these people
Do you
like
think Bill
enjoy
Gates
doing.
is a reptile?
Yeah, I mean metaphorically, if not actually, yeah, I think he belongs in that category. But that's
Yeah.
the whole thing is like the metaphor of a reptile. I think is valid because I think there's like we're dealing with people who are normal like you and me who are just going about our day. We want to have a family. We want a decent job, and there's people who like get off on like people suffering and dying, and it's hard for us to imagine that worldview or that perspective. But I think it's real.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Circling back to the Africa thing, I think Africa has a poverty and humanitarian crisis because of the rest of the world having exploited them for hundreds of, if not thousands of years. And like there is like a reliance on aid now where
Yeah,
governments like Uganda put into their budget like a deficit where they rely on other governments to give them money, and then they misuse those funds and just like pay their secretaries more or whatever because they know that money's coming in.
yeah,
And I think the solution to that is investing in business and like technology there so that they can have their own economies and develop their own health structures that will allow for a healthier population. And I think like Bill Gates saying we need to give them more aid and shit, comes from a good place, comes from actually wanting to help. And there is there are tangible benefits to that. Like there was like they eradicated ringworm, I think, or something like that, or they were close to it, guinea worm, uh, with vaccines and with medicine and with healthcare that comes from foreign aid. But it creates that structure where they rely on other countries
Yeah.
and outside funds. So I don't think he's injecting them with poverty and or malaria or AIDS or anything. I think there just is a health crisis going on there, and it's going to
Yeah.
continue because of their reliance on outside influence.
Right. I mean, I think that he's maybe like treating the people as like guinea pigs, and I think he gets away with it because he's like stepping in to help, and he's like has this whole like savior complex, and but what is he doing? Maybe it's like net neutral at the end of the day, but I think maybe he's like experimenting with certain vaccines, and maybe it helps sometimes, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I think it's something fishy. That's what I think.
I don't know. I can't speak to that.
I'll look
I'm
into
not.
it. Bill Gates is an interesting topic. There's also a video where he gets a pie in the face in like the 90s because he did.
What?
There was like some scandal where he did something that was like just came off as like really nefarious and everyone hated him. And then he launched this whole like Save Africa movement like right after that to like help his image. So there's like a history of Bill Gates that I think is worth looking into. I might put that on
I mean,
my
dude, look
list.
into any billionaire. They are all bad people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong.
But, it's whatever. Do we got to end it? I feel like we've gone pretty far over, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this one flew by. I feel like this was a very good one. Very
It
rich
was, yeah,
content.
it was definitely conspiratorial, and I feel like I'm able to share my opinions and whatnot.
Good, yeah. I mean, I encourage you to look into stuff you had questions about, and if you want to send me links,
Send
like
me links, dude,
let's have
because
a follow up
dude,
next week.
obviously, the internet's not going to show me what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's true. I got to send you like the dank sources, not the Google sources.
Yeah. Uh,
All right, so we'll touch back on some of these points next week. How about that?
sure. And I'll come with